Africans in Africa, you treat white people better than you do Africans, and you need to stop that shit.
I would have to call the manager and say, hey, please make sure that someone comes to my room today. And so it really was like a really terrible, sad time because I had never been treated like that. And I'm just leaving Italy, which a lot of people say Italy is so racist, but I never had that kind of experience on vacation. Honestly, my last day kind of getting adopted by this corporate retreat really did make a difference. And the place where all this happened to me and where I was treated like dirt was by other Black people in St. Kitts.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My good name is Gracey D, your African diva. I hope you guys are doing well. So, foundational Black Americans might actually feel a sense of disconnect from African continent and some parts of the Caribbean or any other Black nation that people are always advocating come back to the motherland or visit back home, especially when most of them have got to learn of their ancestry or they've gotten their DNA results. But lately, we've seen so many Black Americans trying to visit the motherland and some parts of the Caribbean. And they always visit, with the goal to reconnect and get to learn more about the culture and the culture. But it's so sad when some people visit Africa or some parts of the Caribbean, they have to be treated as what people are saying on this video. So let's watch these videos and we'll come back to it. And if you've had such an experience during your visit in Africa or any other part of the Caribbean or any Black nation, let me know in the comment section.
Africans in Africa, you treat white people better than you do Africans, and you need to stop that shit. It is such disgusting behavior. I hate the special treatment white people get in Africa. Like, literally, ass kissers, the lot of you. I remember this one time in Cape Town, I wanted to get a table at a restaurant, and my friend was like, oh, remember to use your white voice so that they don't tell you that the place is booked out. Sorry, I have been to places at the club, literally there's a line of Black people, Africans, a white person pops up, they're let into the club. Literally, it happens all the time. At restaurants, they're given the first tables. Like, Africans are more kind, more welcoming, more understanding when it comes to them. And it's not just even white people, anyone who's not African, but especially white people. Are they God? I'm so confused. So many of you are traumatized from
I went out to a club, and I went in the club. The host says, basically the club has nothing but tables. There's all tables. In order to get a table, to get in, you have to have a 2,000 minimum. Right?
2,000 minimum spend. Serious.
Okay, no issues. I ain't sweating that. I'm not okay. But let me see how this thing is gonna do first before I do that. Okay, she said okay. We sat down. Now, I know when I seen these white boys sitting down buying 3 drinks the whole night, 3-4, those 3 drinks could not have cost 2,000. So I told my friend, I was like, yo, bro, how come they came up to us and told us, but get a table, we got to spend this, but there's white people, it's like at least 4 white people here, they don't have a bottle or nothing. I know that don't cost. He said, oh man, white people here in Kenya, in Ghana, bro, is not in their DNA to do that, so they let them. It's okay for them. They don't have to.
What?
Yeah, man.
Really?
Bro, I know cocktails don't cost no 2,000.
Which bar?
Mad Club.
Mad Club?
Yes.
Oh.
Cocktails don't cost no 2,000. If you were a chick and let's say y'all get 3 drinks, that's 6 drinks. There's no way 6 drinks is gonna be 2,000 CDs.
Wow, guys, if you've experienced this the same as Mad Club, let me know. Comment down below. What? For real? This is crazy. In Accra,
Damn,
Ghana.
I shouldn't put the name of the club out there like
that.
I
think it's good. It's good. So they made the Black people spend minimum of 2,000 to get a table, but a white person can sit at the same table.
It was not as many white people though. I would say it was probably like 4 or 5 white people. But I watch. I'm sitting down. I'm paying attention, and I'm saying to myself, "Dang, I ain't never gonna be able to go in this club no more, bro. Wow. I don't care. I just don't go."
No, I like you don't talk about your videos. You are very honest here.
I'm watching, bro. Even though I'm drinking, I'm watching. I'm saying to myself, how come these people ain't got no bottle and they got a table?
Does anti-Blackness better than a Black immigrant or like a Black person from the...
I get so many questions from people who look like me asking me why I wouldn't take my children to Africa and why I moved them to Europe. When I travel to Africa and I am in the airport and the airport attendant tells me to step aside so that the Indians and the Europeans can walk through, there is a level of self-hatred still to this day in Africa. And you guys are going to get so pissed off at me, and I don't care because I am of African descent. I can say what I want to say. But when you tell me to step aside so that the Europeans and the Indians, our bank accounts look alike, but you want to tell me to step aside in the homeland of my ancestors, but I should step aside so they can, because they need to get through. There is no day on this earth that I will walk this earth and worship the original brown and native people all over this world. I salute you. There are so many injustices in Africa, so many corrupt mindsets, we have to fix it. There was no way that I would ever move my children to a country in Africa. And I'm talking about a specific country, but I've experienced this in 4 countries in Africa now. 4. There is no way that I would ever move my children to Africa and have them experience an establishment owner telling me to remove the fan from my side because the American, which again, I have not spoken, so you don't even know where I'm from. But the white Americans on the other side, they need the fan. There's no way. There's no way. And again, I am spending time in Dubai as well. I've never had anything like that happen. And I could talk about this all night long. I could talk about it because I married into a Nigerian family as well, who they're very colorist. I remember my mother-in-law telling me that my sister-in-law was having a baby and that she was praying like every day, doing something so that the baby is light skinned. Meanwhile, I have brown children. I myself am brown. So where do you think I should place that? Like, I just never imagined the level of ignorance, the level of self-hatred that some African people have. I was raised in a pro-Pan-African household. Like, you are beautiful, baby. I don't care if your edges or roots or not. Enjoy the whatever. You are beautiful. That is how I was raised. That's how my daughter is raised. She prefers, I'm all natural. I don't need anything. And yes, I'm using a filter because I need you guys to understand this. I need to get this message out there. I want everybody to stop and take a listen. It is very much so true. The most hatred that I myself have experienced is in Africa. Especially now, if I'm quiet and I am barefaced, natural hair tied, chilling with no makeup on, and you treat me like dirt because you think that I am not worthy, you don't know who I am, you don't know what I have, you don't know anything, but you treat me like the scum of the earth. Like, who are you? Scoff. I didn't even know scoffing was a thing. But you treat me like that initially. You better keep that same energy. When you do find out who I am, you better keep that same energy, because I don't want my children to be associated with anybody who behaves that way. So this is why, and I have so many people, I get so many questions. Why aren't you in Africa? You have African family. Why aren't you in Africa? I don't want to be in Africa. I don't. I have assets in Africa. I will always advocate for people who look like me. I will always, and you know what? I will always advocate for the African children because they are the ones who will change. The millennials, the other ones, boomers, done. But I will always advocate for the children because they are the ones who will eventually change it all. So that is why I educate my children, but I don't immerse them. Not just yet. Eventually, we will. Africa has a long way to go. A very long way to go. And the African mindset has to evolve before I could ever immerse my children into any kind of nonsense like that. The level of colorism, tribalism. I can't even tell you how many experiences I have had with tribalism. No. The worst, and it's disrespectful, and it's disgusting. I get disgusted thinking about it. So no, I will not immerse my kids in Africa. They will go. They know exactly where they're from. They know exactly, we travel there often, you know. But to fully immerse them, I need them to go where they know that they are the beauty standard. And unfortunately, no matter what these propaganda and these campaigns and travel, return home with a return, it's not what it is propaganda. It is a campaign. I worked in marketing. It is a campaign. I won't be subject to that. So yeah, this creator, go watch her video. I'm sorry I said that so late, but she's right. It's the worst. Don't even get me started on the West Indies. We're going to do another one about that one too, because no.
Okay, so you guys have to ask me what the most racist places I've been to, how the racism is like in different countries, especially since I have lived in and traveled to a lot of countries. So I've lived in Europe, I've lived in the Middle East, and I live in Asia. So I've seen a lot of different environments and different types of treatment and experiences for traveling while Black. So today I'm going to tell you about the worst place I've ever traveled, where I was treated the most poorly, had the worst time, and will never be going back. And so for context, I went on this trip when I was moving out of Europe. So I left Italy. I lived in Italy for 3 years, and I was deciding to move home, but I was going to take like 2 weeks off before starting to really look for a new job in the US. So I came home, dropped off all my stuff because I had moved like a ton of bags, and then repacked a carry-on to go away for a week. So I was going to do 1 week away internationally and then another week traveling domestically, like visiting family. And so when I went away, it started at check-in, really at arrival of the hotel, because when I pulled up, they were kind of like, people outside to welcome new travelers, give them a fresh drink and check their luggage. And no one offered me that, but I just didn't like sweat it too much because I only had a carry-on. And I'm like, all these people, they just have big bags, so I don't really need help anyway, but it's still nice to be offered. Going to check-in, I'm waiting in line. I come up and I'm like, hey, I'm checking in. They're like, yeah, we don't have your reservation. I'm like, oh, I have it. Here you go. Here's all the info. They pull up, they find it. They're like, oh, okay, we got you in this room, whatever. You didn't book the all-inclusive plan, so make sure you check the restaurant pricing. And I'm like, yeah, I know, I never book all-inclusive plans. So I'm like, I'm aware of that, but okay. No offer to upgrade me to the all-inclusive plan. It was just like, you didn't get the all-inclusive plan. The time that I spent like hanging out at the pools or on the beach was just like awful. Like I could not barely get a drink to save my life. I could not get a server to come take care of me, literally to save my life. Like I would see them walk past my chair to every other white person. And then when you try to make eye contact and kind of like try to wave them down and get attention when you're ready to order, they're still like looking everywhere but at me, or like looking at me and then looking away. To the point where even like white people next to me were like, oh, I think that girl's waiting to order. And I'm traveling by myself, and I actually kind of bonded with another Black female solo traveler over this because she was seeing the same shit. So we just kind of started hanging out together and like commiserating over our experiences. Same thing also out in town. Like I went out on some cultural excursions, like, you do these little tours, went out to a little market for a day, kind of just exploring off the resort. People in the market are not giving me the time of day. Walked into a couple of shops and like no one greets you, no one even acknowledges your presence, which I don't get pressed by because I know that in some cultures, like you're supposed to greet the shop owner first. Like, that's considered polite. Like, they're not expected to greet you first. You're supposed to greet them when you come into space. So if a shop owner doesn't greet me, I'm always going to greet them first, because I'm not going to know, oh yeah, this might be their kind of cultural thing. So I'd be like, oh, hi, ma'am, hello. Like, just like very standoffish and stank everywhere. And then even like back at the resort in one of my last like days, this kind of whole crop of like, it was some kind of conference or team building people, like a whole bunch of corporate white people came to the resort. The last like maybe day and a half I was overlapping. And so they were all like, oh, there's this cool black girl. There's this other cool black girl. They're by themselves. So they kind of like were hanging out with us, and a lot of them wanted to hear about Europe, because I was like, oh yeah, I just moved back from Europe and I'm just like hanging out before I have to go back to work. And they were on some kind of corporate retreat, so they all had the all-inclusive plan. So they were like, oh, we'll just get your drinks, we'll just get your stuff, don't worry about it. So of course the servers who had been ignoring me for half the week were kind of like salty about it, but they couldn't do anything. Also, even housekeeping was really shitty. Like, the first 2 days, they did not make up my room, even though I had the thing on the sign that says, like, make up my room. Like, you had that do not disturb card or make up my room card. So I had the make up my room card, and they were still just not doing it. Like, to the point where every morning when I left, I would have to call the manager and say, hey, please make sure that someone comes to my room today. And so it really was like a really terrible, sad time, because I had never been treated like that. And I'm just leaving Italy, which a lot of people say Italy is so racist, but I never had that kind of experience on vacation. Honestly, my last day kind of getting adopted by this corporate retreat really did make a difference. And the place where all this happened to me and where I was treated like dirt was by other Black people in St. Kitts.
I don't understand why Africans hate their own people. Like, just because we live in a different country doesn't make us any different than y'all. I mean, sure, our culture is different, but genetically, we're literally the same. And you want to know what's crazy? African people copy American culture, and Black people want more of their culture. Like, really? We're literally going in separate directions, and that's what's dividing us. This stupid ignorance on both sides needs to stop. Like, it's honestly so dumb. I can't even believe I'm ranting about it on TikTok right now. Just love everyone. Understand both sides. It's that easy. And honestly, this is something I can rant about all day. If you guys are interested, follow me and let me know you want more.
Yeah, guys, these are just some of the few clips that I've managed to gather of people complaining of their experiences in Africa. And some of these people actually get to think it's more of racism. But honestly, I can come and tell you from my experience being an African who's worked in various industries, we have gotten to deal with people from different or various parts of the world, including people of palmed color. So what I'm gonna tell you, I know it's quite funny, but most people in Africa, especially people who are in these industries, it's not even more because they respect you because you are of palmed color. No, is some of these people, they have this mentality that the palmed color people always have a good they always good tea, they give good tip when they are tipping in, for example, in places like restaurant, or maybe they might, there's always been this mentality whereby even when palmed color people visit Africa, most of them even come with candies to give to kids, which I think it's actually a very bad image, because we also have candies here in Africa and other parts of Black nation. So most people in the Black nations, or most people in Africa, have this mentality: if I give this person a good service, they're probably gonna tip me. And some of these people, I don't blame them. I actually blame our governments, the government's officials, because they are the ones that have put our continent and some of our countries in these situations, to letting people think some of these people are being paid peanuts, and we've been programmed to believe that palmed colored people are rich and they have money. That's why some of the people, when they're treating them like this, it's not because they are being racist, but in their mind they're like, I'm doing this, maybe I'll get something from it. Because, like, for example, in a country like Kenya, tipping is not part of our culture, but people, they actually do it. But when you go to a restaurant, you might find, like when you go to a place like Mombasa, you might find people are quick to serve the white people, the palmed colored people, because they believe at the end of it, they'll leave a tip. where some of them don't even get to leave that tip, because some of these people, they've saved for years for them to manage to come to this trip, you know. And people don't actually get to understand that when they see someone traveling, they always think you're traveling because you have money, not knowing back in their mind someone has planned or saved for this trip for quite a long time. So they definitely, some of them don't even have that money to tip you. And this is actually an experience that I've had me myself, and it's quite sad that's happening in Africa and some other parts of the Black nation. Like this lady said, it happened to her in some parts of the Caribbean. But this should not stop you from visiting Africa or any other Black nation, you know. And when you have these experiences, it's good that people can film and say it's specific. Which country did you experience this? Which country did you experience this, rather than generalizing the whole of Africa continent and saying this is a reason as to why I'll never visit Africa again, because Africa is a continent consisting of 54 countries. So you cannot tell me in all the 54 countries you've had the same experience. No. There are people who visited Africa, different parts of Africa. They visited Kenya, they visited Tanzania, Uganda, Ghana, Nigeria, and they have had different experiences. But if you've had such an experience, let me know in the comment section. Let me know what you think about this. Africans watching this, it's high time. If you work in this industry, just learn and know that it's always good to treat people the same way, because that person is coming to that restaurant to eat, so that at the end of the month, the money that they pay for that food, you'll be able to get paid by your boss, you know. Because if people don't come to eat at your place, then there will be no work for you. So it's okay to always treat people equally. And this thing of profiling people and just think because someone is of my color, they don't have money, and someone is pound colored person, of course they have money and they're gonna tip me so well. You have to get rid of that mentality. And as this lady said, Africa has a very long way to go, and it's only us the Africans that can make this right. Tell me what you think about this episode. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and until the next episode, bye.